If something falls from above, the universe may be trying to tell you something. Published to YouTube in June of 2020 by MD Vines Official. This will leave you shaking. Out in the jungle at night, a group is discussing something while standing outside of this obscure structure. The moon is full above. They start to see a small point of light blinking in the darkness. They follow it as it moves. Then all of a sudden something heavy like a brick falls from above. The group starts running like mad. What just tried to take their lives? Whatever it is, the creature is vengeful. They'd better watch their step. Vickers Hill in Northern Ireland has a twisted history, and a piece of this history may have been caught on video. A bit of backstory. The footage shows a shadowy figure in Georgian attire cross the street around noon near the Church of Ireland Cathedral. Normal looking enough at first, that is, until it vanishes into the wall of the grounds opposite the cathedral. The ancient city of Armagh has a rich Georgian history, so the dress is befitting of the area. According to the man whose grandmother caught this on camera, she was still hyperventilating from the shock of seeing the ghost. If you saw what appeared to be a solid figure vanish like this, wouldn't you be? And considering the history of this place, it's not far-fetched to think this is paranormal. Tim Morozov, or Tim Frost in English, is a Russian YouTuber who goes into places that spirits want him to stay out of. This time he has his eyes on an entire village that's been evacuated due to the presence of something mysterious, something neither you nor I can see. He picks the creepiest, most haunted looking cabin of them all, and unlike most ghost hunters, sets up high quality lighting to catch every last detail. It isn't long before Tim Frost thinks he sees a mist floating before his very eyes, but to be honest, I don't see anything.
What?
That mirror, on the other hand, is hard to miss. Tim takes it off the wall and is busy inspecting it with what sounds like beads falling off a necklace hit the floor from behind. If this is fake, then someone must have climbed the cabin and poured something onto the roof to create this sound, but that still doesn't explain what happens next. A ghost brushes by and hits the microphone of his camera at 12 minutes and 3 seconds. The mic moves by itself and everything, or maybe Tim's just slightly shaking it to create the illusion of movement. Then his light short circuits, unless, that is, he hits the strobe effect and then turns it off himself. Tim Frost knows that he has to explore the entire cabin, and that includes the basement. He takes the freaky mirror down there with him and starts snapping pictures with an old Polaroid camera for evidence. That's when a brick falls near him. There's a good chance he placed it there himself, because this ledge is an odd place for a brick to just so happen to be perched upon. But right as I say, I notice an orb fly over the brick right as it falls. So now I'm back to thinking it could be real and paranormal. Tim Frost unfortunately gets chased out by locals before he can gather much more evidence. He returns on a different day and selects another cabin. This one happens to still have power, which is odd, but I guess the electrical company could have made a mistake and not switched it off yet. Anyway, at 3 minutes and 45 seconds, he records a strange flickering white light against the wall. It stays with him for more than a minute, but then, at 6 minutes and 10 seconds, it goes away, almost like it goes into the next room, and then this happens.
Блин, что-то голова раскалывается, на самом деле. На спичке вроде все в порядке.
Suddenly, the lights go out and Tim finds himself alone in the dark, or so he thinks.
Как упали тарелки.
He uses uses an EMF meter to track something moving around with him, and when he hones in on its exact position, his lights start messing up. Also, an eerie mist is visible around his flashlight, but maybe it's dust. He follows the EMF meter up to an attic. His flashlight is flickering badly now, even though it was a solid beam only minutes before. What he hears next is not fake in my opinion. Too light to be a person, and yet all too near. In fact, it sounded like it was this door. But when he looks inside for himself, nothing is there. And get this, the flashlight of his camera is not the last of his lighting problems that night. When he set up his professional studio lights that he's never had a problem with before, they can't seem to stay on either. I would say that this was from faulty wiring with the cabin, but I think this light is running on its own battery and isn't plugged in at all. Rian Silver is a paranormal explorer who searches every abandoned house that he can find in the hopes that it's haunted by a djinn for him to catch on camera. Most of his videos have absolutely nothing paranormal in them, seemingly an abandoned house with nothing in it, just 20 minutes of creeping around empty room after room. But one of his scariest videos of all is paranormal beyond belief and has left him seriously creeped out ever since. He calls it the real horror house. Here's why. A strange sensation leaves him shaking before he's even cleared the main floor. The real horror house is different from any place he's ever been before. It feels truly haunted.
لا إله إلا الله أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق.
At 2 minutes and 8 seconds, a pair of glowing eyes stares at them from the window. It's not a cat. 9 seconds later, this creature with glowing eyes is seen outside the doorway. As they are leaving the room, a faint groan is heard behind them. As they reach the top of the stairs, they see another shadow figure that dips into the doorway upon their approach. They pursue and the weirdness follows close behind. A sudden chill gives Rian raised goosebumps. He's showing them to the camera when all of the sudden bone-chilling laughter now fills the abandoned house. I was thinking maybe it's people playing outside, but who would be playing in the middle of the night by an abandoned house? I think it's coming from inside and very close by. Things get even more creepy when they reach the basement. Down here is where they find a single square opening to a secret hidden holding room with no way out. It looks like somebody might have been kept in this secret room for a long time. Rian doesn't dare climb in, but who knows what they would have discovered if he did. Could something in this creepy room also be the source of whatever's haunting this abandoned building? When they record inside, this freaky EVP is what's caught on camera. A tiny voice screams up at them from within, very faint but unmistakable when you hear it. Is this the final resting place of someone who fell in and can't get out? I think that might be the case. In 2014, Paranormal Lana created her channel, and it soon became one of the fastest growing channels in the scary community. Her channel had reached over 50,000 subscribers, until on a September day in 2015, her channel vanished without a trace or reason. Since then, theories have abounded online about what caused her disappearance, though some think she just became bored with the platform. A more disturbing theory has picked up interest. Shortly before her disappearance, she posted the following on social media. Had a pretty scary stalking incident, so unfortunately I'm having to change the way I run my social media. No more Facebook. Since then, many have wondered if this stalker had a part in her disappearance. It's certainly plausible, but since there's been no update since 2015, we will never know for sure. This paranormal investigator's creepiest capture in a cemetery is bone-chilling. The YouTuber was exploring the hauntings at St. Joseph Cemetery near Kimmswick, Missouri, when she captured several EVPs.
Michael?
Later, while she was attempting to communicate with the passed on using a spirit box, Michael made his physical cameo. Watch to the right, just above the vehicle.
Which grave is yours?
Nobody appears to be in the vicinity, so to whom does this shadow belong? I vote for Michael. A YouTuber named Jamie Sinclair is hanging out with her friend and her dog when she records some weird things.
What the?
She looks up to see a swing set is moving on its own. As she gets closer, we can notice some things that make this unexplained video even more mysterious. Okay, so the obvious answer is that it's the wind, right? Wrong. Look at this rope next to it, stationary. Are you meaning to tell me that the wind is strong enough to push this swing but not move this rope? I don't think so. Footprints are all around the swing, so I'm not acting like her friend couldn't have pushed it and then acted surprised, but the point is there's no way to tell for sure, and even the smallest chance of paranormal activity is still creepy to think about. A man enters a restaurant in Split, Croatia, and helps himself not only to a chair, but to a customer's belongings as well. First, he enters loudly enough to make two women turn around and take notice. He was probably on a fake phone call and tried to play it cool, but fails miserably. He pretends to hang his jacket up on the chair and stretches out to try and swipe this black backpack. It doesn't work, and so, undeterred, he tries again, this time as one of the family members gets up, and he's about as close as he can be to getting caught here at 41 seconds, and so he knocks it to the floor while the older man is busy swapping out a more comfortable chair, covers it with his jacket, picks it up, and dips. They must have thought the odd fellow simply changed his mind about eating here. Only later did they realize he had gotten away with one of their travel documents. Obviously, this man has practiced this technique many times before, and probably targeted them because they looked like a tourist family. He has yet to be caught in the past 4 years and most likely never will. So the next time you're at a restaurant, watch out for any odd characters sitting at a table near you. YouTuber Moxley's Crazy Adventures posted this haunted graveyard video in November of 2019, writing, "Welcome back to my first haunted graveyard. I went here to see what I could capture, if anything at all. What I did capture was insane. Alright, you reeled us in. Let's just hope you deliver." And Moxley does deliver. He captures a dark shadow-like figure gliding across the backdrop of a lit brick wall. He shouts out to it, but it doesn't respond.
What the hell is that? Hello?
He later hears heavy footsteps nearby. They're clearly heard in the leaves around him. In the comments, YouTuber Spooky Spectre notes that this thing wasn't moving like a human being, nor did the brush move as it passed by. It also didn't respond when being called out to, or make noise or footsteps. Do you agree with Spooky Spectre? Did this freak you out? If not, then you're one brave cookie. This clip was submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit and was originally uploaded to YouTube by Hunting the Unknown. As the team investigates the haunted insane asylum, they hear something.
They can give us a sign.
While they indicate it's a knock, it sounds like a loud grunt to me. Later, as they continue walking, footsteps are heard beside them, or nearby that seem out of place with their own. Next, they hear something off screen. As they continue on, one viewer claims to see a figure in the window at this point. Look up and to the right.
Taking us some more investigation.
While I do see the shadow, I think it's just the wall jutting out, although it does look a bit like a figure. I think this shadow can be explained, but the subtle footsteps and other noises are harder to pinpoint. This place definitely gives me the creeps. Dark Mystic is the name of a paranormal YouTuber in Russia who intends on exploring an abandoned cottage home in the middle of some pretty scary woods late at night. He wants to determine what kind of paranormal entities haunt this abandoned building, and he's certain he's caught creepy things on camera. He finds a room with half the walls covered in newspaper clippings. They look to have been carefully cut out and are not overlapping, which to me means they were meant to be read instead of part of a remodeling project or something like that. If you speak Russian, what do these headlines say? I can't help but suspect this is a trophy room and someone is proud of making the news.
Кто здесь?
He hears somebody cough, but nothing is there. It's creepy, but the paranormal activity really picks up when he goes exploring the haunted attic.
Купил на это. Нет, я же там был. Не знаю, что такое может быть.
He keeps hearing objects getting thrown around, dropped, or otherwise moving on their own. And when Dark Mystic goes to check what they are, something moves into the doorway as if rolled into place by a ghostly hand. Dark Mystic is certain that something paranormal is toying with him and arms himself. He may be right, but I'm not sure what use a blunt force instrument would be on something not of this world. A being made of shadows that peeks at him from around the door. A reality show that can take a dark turn, Whale Wars follows the Sea Shepherd Conservation Society as they confront whaling fleets over environmental issues. The society is often faced off with a Japanese whaling fleet, year in and year out. By season 3, in the episode titled Sliced in Two, the two parties decide enough is enough, it's time to have it out. Up until this point, the battle has been confrontational, but not terrifying. The Sea Shepherd's arms of choice, paint, spud shooters, and noise disruptors. The whalers, strong and effective water cannons. This time, however, the whalers go all in, heading straight into the Shepherd's small ship. The Addie Gill is then, as the episode is so aptly titled, Sliced in Two. The ship lies in shatters on the open sea. The crew can't contact anyone via radio. It's one of the scariest moments in reality TV history. Even worse, the whalers start to lower an inflatable boat into the sea, likely to capture the crew and take them on board. The open sea is scary enough. Imagine being surrounded out there on the waters by your worst enemy. Luckily, the shepherds are able to save their crew in time. Everyone survives, and no one is captured. A happy ending to another scary event caught live. What's in the closet of this hotel? Posted by Horror Talk, this TikToker appears to be filming your standard hotel lockbox on a top shelf of the closet, only this one's not so standard. The lockbox keeps beeping and flashing sixes, the sign of the devil, after which it repeatedly shows an error.
I'm literally overshielded and I'm terrified.
The girl is far away from the lockbox, and no one else is in the room. She says she just got back from the hotel bar and was reading a scary book when this started happening. Some think the 6 key was just pressed too many times and is malfunctioning. Others think the ghost is just trying to get his valuables. But what I'm wondering is what's in the box? It's 6 in the morning, and a YouTuber named Sheezy is about to go home after a long shift at the hospital. All he needs to do is return this 1-ton X-ray machine and then clock out. Unfortunately for him, the elevator gets stuck on the 5th floor and suddenly drops to the 1st floor without warning. It happens so fast that the floor numbers don't even register until the very end. But it's not over yet. The elevator rushes from the ground floor to the 5th floor, ready to drop again. And if that X-ray machine slides back and pins him against the wall, it wouldn't matter if he's at a hospital or not, because it's going to flatten him in seconds. This time, he hits the emergency stop before he can drop again. After a minute and a half, engineers rush to get him out of there. Blurry Faces is a YouTuber exploring 2 mysterious schools standing next to each other. They were both built around World War II and have been abandoned for a long time. Everything starts out normal until Blurry Faces is exploring an upstairs room full of classroom furniture. After that, something seems to be stalking them at every turn. The strange banging noises only grow louder and more persistent as time wears on. I will give them credit for being courageous and sticking around for so long. This is the event that finally makes them lose their composure and scramble. This time, Blurry Faces bravely tests the weight of the door himself and finds that it's way too heavy to swing open with such ease. You can tell he is putting a lot more effort into opening and closing the door than whatever just opened it moments earlier. Tell me what's written in Spanish across the door and if it has any significance to what could be possibly lurking inside. A Saudi Arabian ghost hunter known only as Hai claims to have caught a real jinn on camera while exploring an abandoned house that he knows is haunted. I can't tell if this is a gap in the curtains or a ghost in the window. He presses onwards and reaches the 2nd floor before things get beyond creepy.
في أحد؟
Something paranormal is making movements.
بسم الله.
And staying one step ahead of the paranormal explorer at all times.
بسم الله بسم الله الذي لا يضر مع اسمه شيء.
The excited ghost hunter runs from room to room trying to keep up, praying for strength all the while.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
As the ghost apparently runs into a tall cabinet, I can't help but wonder if it's just as afraid as he is.
Bismillah!
Cornered and with nowhere to go, the spirit finally has to rely on its supernatural defenses to get out of there quickly.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Scary noises are heard all around, doors shutting, cabinets opening, and soon a strange and bizarre paranormal mist floods the room. It's hard to say if this was real paranormal activity or dust kicked up from him throwing objects everywhere, but I think it's probably real and most certainly is creepy. When one door opens, it probably means a ghost is in the building. Redditor Newski Got Distrapped shares this video, which was captured at their work at 5 a.m. The Redditor says that the place is about 75 years old, people have passed away in it, and strange things have occurred to them inside. Feelings that they're being watched and unexplained pennies turning up everywhere. The bar was empty at the time. Watch the bottom right. There's a glass door you see opening. They also believe that this object you see flying out of there is an orb. Although I wouldn't put too much stock into orbs as they're more often than not dust or insects, the door opening and shelf shattering does seem mysterious to me. Can you think of any logical explanation? A YouTuber named Godiva calls this a bizarre sighting caught on camera, and he's definitely right. The slow-moving shadow figure grows larger as it extends over this house. It's all caught on their home CCTV system, and it's a creepy moment for sure, but tell me if it's a formless shadow person or some sort of insect. Have you ever had an imaginary friend? Did that friend ever try to push you off a roof? Published by Ufology Unidentified Objects in November of 2021. The timestamp on this security footage shows it was taken in June of 2015. A boy is walking around on a roof, kicking something near the corner, maybe playing soccer with an imaginary friend. The boy walks out of view and then moseys on back. That's when this friend is done playing. A mysterious shadow appears in the air behind him for a moment, and the boy is shoved forward. He stumbles and is thrown face forward and out of frame. A glittering appears in the air behind him like water being splashed. Is this poltergeist upset that the boy stopped playing? Or has the game just begun? Gavin Free and Meg Turney are a married couple who have experienced a lot of success on YouTube, most notably with a channel called the Slow Mo Guys. Among their millions of subscribers, however, was one fan who somehow developed an insane obsession with Meg Turney in particular. His name was Christopher Giles, a man who wrote hundreds of personal notes to himself about the married couple, most of which revolved around taking out Gavin, who he saw as direct competition to Meg. One day, he can no longer contain his rage and drives a full 11 hours to their house to get even. He breaks in and searches for them for a long time, but Gavin and Meg manage to successfully hide in the closet and call the police. Apparently, Christopher fires randomly throughout the house for a long time before giving up and leaving, at which point he makes contact with the police at the front door. Christopher Giles passes away during this confrontation. I'm just glad the police were able to arrive in time, because I have little doubt that he would have come back later to do the same thing. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.